The secure communication system at the Pentagon's National Military Command Center had never transmitted a Priority 1 Alpha alert at 3:22 a.m. on a Wednesday morning, but Attorney General Pam Bondi's urgent request for immediate military coordination had triggered the highest level of alert protocols in the American defense establishment. The fortified command center, buried deep beneath the Pentagon, was now the focal point for the most critical national security briefing in modern American history as military commanders, intelligence officials, and defense specialists gathered to address evidence of active Iranian sabotage teams operating within the United States. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin entered the secure briefing room at precisely 4:00 a.m., followed by Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley, CIA Director William Burns, NSA Director General Paul Nakasone, Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines, and FBI Director Christopher Wray. The assembled officials represented the most senior levels of American military and intelligence leadership, each carrying decades of experience in defending America against foreign threats, but none had anticipated the intelligence briefing they were about to receive. "Ladies and gentlemen," Attorney General Bondi began, her voice carrying the weight of intelligence that had fundamentally altered American understanding of Iranian capabilities within the homeland. "I have requested this emergency military briefing because we have discovered conclusive evidence of Iranian sabotage teams actively operating on American soil with the immediate capability to execute coordinated attacks against our most critical military and civilian infrastructure." She activated the command center's advanced tactical display systems, revealing real-time intelligence analysis that painted a terrifying picture of Iranian military capabilities that had been positioned throughout the continental United States. The main screen showed a dynamic map displaying the locations of active Iranian sabotage teams, their equipment caches, target assignments, and operational timelines. What makes this threat unprecedented is not just its scope, but its immediate operational readiness, Bondi continued, pointing to specific tactical indicators on the display. "We have identified what military analysts are calling direct action teams, highly trained Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps special operations units that have been infiltrated into the United States specifically to conduct sabotage operations against American military installations and critical infrastructure." Chairman of the Joint Chiefs General Milley studied the tactical displays with the practiced eye of a career military officer who had spent decades analyzing enemy capabilities. "Madam Attorney General, are you telling us that Iranian military units are currently operating within the United States with active sabotage missions?" "General Milley, that's exactly what our intelligence indicates. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps has successfully infiltrated at least 12 specialized sabotage teams into the United States over the past 18 months. These are not intelligence operatives or sleeper agents. They are active military units equipped with explosives, weapons, and sophisticated sabotage equipment." She clicked to the next section of the briefing, revealing detailed tactical analysis of Iranian sabotage team capabilities and equipment. Unlike their traditional espionage networks, these sabotage teams have been specifically trained and equipped to conduct immediate military operations against high-value American targets. Our intelligence indicates they have access to military-grade explosives, advanced communication systems, and specialized equipment designed to maximize damage to critical infrastructure. The implications sent a chill through the room. CIA Director Burns had spent his career analyzing foreign military threats, but had never encountered evidence of such direct foreign military operations within American borders. "Madam Attorney General, what kind of targets are these Iranian sabotage teams prepared to attack?" Director Burns, "Our intelligence indicates that Iranian sabotage teams have been assigned specific targets, including military installations, power generation facilities, transportation networks, communications infrastructure, and government facilities across multiple states. These are not random terrorist attacks. They are coordinated military operations designed to cripple American defensive capabilities." She moved to a classified section of the briefing that revealed intercepted Iranian military communications and operational planning documents. "We have obtained Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps planning documents that outline what they call Operation Dagger Strike, a coordinated sabotage campaign designed to simultaneously attack American military and civilian infrastructure to create maximum disruption and psychological impact." Secretary of Defense Austin leaned forward, studying the Iranian operational plans with growing alarm. Madam Attorney General, what's our assessment of Iranian sabotage team capabilities against hardened military targets? Can they actually penetrate security at major military installations? Secretary Austin, that's one of the most concerning aspects of this threat. Our analysis indicates that Iranian sabotage teams have been conducting reconnaissance on American military installations for months, mapping security protocols, identifying vulnerabilities, and positioning equipment for potential attacks. She displayed satellite imagery and surveillance photographs that showed Iranian operatives conducting detailed reconnaissance near major military facilities. For example, we have photographic evidence of Iranian sabotage team members conducting surveillance at Fort Bragg, Norfolk Naval Base, Offutt Air Force Base, and the Pentagon itself. They have been systematically studying our security procedures and identifying potential attack vectors. The possibility that Iranian military units had been conducting reconnaissance operations near America's most sensitive military facilities represented a fundamental breach of national security that demanded immediate military response. NSA Director General Nakasone had been analyzing communications intercepts on his secure workstation. Madam Attorney General, our signals intelligence indicates that Iranian sabotage teams are using advanced communication systems that suggest direct coordination with Iranian military command authorities. Are we looking at real-time Iranian military operations being directed from Tehran? General Nakasone, that's exactly what our analysis indicates. Iranian sabotage teams are receiving operational updates, target assignments, and execution orders directly from Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters in Tehran. This isn't a rogue operation. It's an active Iranian military campaign being conducted within the United States. The evidence of direct Iranian military command and control over sabotage operations within American borders represented an act of war that demanded immediate military response from the highest levels of American defense leadership. Director of National Intelligence Haynes had been reviewing classified threat assessments on her secure tablet. Madam Attorney General, what's our timeline for potential Iranian sabotage operations? Are we looking at imminent attacks, or do we have time to develop comprehensive response plans? Director Haynes, based on our latest intelligence intercepts, Iranian sabotage teams have received preliminary activation orders and are preparing for coordinated operations within the next 48 to 72 hours. Our communications intercepts suggest they are in final preparation phases for what they call Phase 1 of Operation Dagger Strike. The room fell silent as the implications of imminent Iranian military operations within the United States sank in. The assembled officials represented the most experienced military and intelligence professionals in America, and each understood the devastating potential of coordinated sabotage attacks executed by trained foreign military units. FBI Director Wray had been studying tactical profiles of the identified Iranian sabotage teams. Madam Attorney General, what's our assessment of Iranian sabotage team training and capabilities? Are we dealing with conventional military units or specialized forces with advanced training? Director Wray, our intelligence indicates that these Iranian sabotage teams consist of elite Revolutionary Guard Corps special operations personnel with extensive training in demolitions, urban warfare, and asymmetric operations. Some team members have combat experience from Iranian operations in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. She displayed detailed tactical assessments that revealed the sophisticated military capabilities of Iranian sabotage teams. For example, we've identified Qasem Hosseini, a Revolutionary Guard Corps major who leads one of the sabotage teams operating in the Northeast Corridor. Hosseini has over 15 years of special operations experience and has conducted sabotage operations against American military targets in Iraq and Afghanistan. The profile showed a highly trained Iranian military officer who had successfully conducted operations against American forces overseas and was now positioned to conduct similar attacks within the United States itself. Hosseini's team has been equipped with specialized explosives designed to cause maximum damage to electrical infrastructure and has been conducting detailed reconnaissance of power generation facilities serving Washington, D.C. and New York City. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs General Milley was analyzing the military implications of Iranian sabotage capabilities. Madam Attorney General, If Iranian sabotage teams succeed in executing coordinated attacks against our power infrastructure, military communications and transportation networks, what's our assessment of the impact on American military readiness? General Milley, our analysis indicates that successful Iranian sabotage operations could significantly compromise American military capabilities for an extended period. Coordinated attacks on power grids could affect military installations, communications networks, and logistics systems that are critical to American defense operations. She moved to a section of the briefing that showed potential cascading effects of Iranian sabotage operations on American military capabilities. If Iranian teams successfully attack power generation facilities serving major military installations, we could see disruptions to command and control systems, weapons systems maintenance, and military communications that could take weeks or months to fully restore. The possibility that Iranian sabotage operations could compromise American military readiness during a potential international crisis represented a strategic threat that demanded immediate military countermeasures. Secretary of Defense Austin immediately began coordination with military commanders to implement enhanced security protocols at all installations where Iranian sabotage teams had been identified. Madam Attorney General, I'm authorizing the immediate deployment of additional security forces to all military installations that may be targeted by Iranian sabotage teams. We cannot allow foreign military units to conduct operations against American military facilities. Secretary Austin, I'm also recommending coordination with Special Operations Command to develop plans for direct military action against Iranian sabotage teams if they attempt to execute attacks against American targets. The briefing continued for another 3 hours as officials developed comprehensive response plans for addressing the Iranian sabotage threat. Each military commander and intelligence official received specific assignments for their role in what was being called Operation Shield Strike, the most extensive military counter-sabotage operation ever conducted within the United States. General Milley outlined the military response strategy that would coordinate regular military forces, special operations units, and intelligence assets to neutralize Iranian sabotage teams before they could execute their planned attacks. We will implement simultaneous military operations to locate, engage, and neutralize all identified Iranian sabotage teams while securing potential target facilities and protecting American civilians. The operation would require unprecedented coordination between military commands, intelligence agencies, and law enforcement organizations. Phase 1 involves immediate deployment of special operations teams to locations where Iranian sabotage teams have been identified. Phase 2 implements enhanced security protocols for all potential target facilities. Phase 3 executes direct military action to neutralize Iranian sabotage teams and secure their equipment and intelligence materials. CIA Director Burns studied the operational timeline with growing urgency. General Milley, an operation targeting active foreign military units within the United States will be extraordinarily complex and potentially dangerous. Are we prepared for the possibility that Iranian sabotage teams may resist with significant firepower? Director Burns, our Special Operations Forces have extensive experience in counter-terrorism and direct action operations. We are prepared for worst-case scenarios where Iranian sabotage teams attempt armed resistance or try to execute their sabotage missions during our operations. As the military briefing concluded, Attorney General Bondi addressed the assembled commanders and intelligence officials with the gravity of someone who understood they were facing the most serious military threat to the American homeland since World War II. Ladies and gentlemen, we have discovered that Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps military units are actively operating within the United States with immediate capability to conduct sabotage operations against our most critical military and civilian infrastructure. This represents a direct military threat that demands immediate and decisive response. She looked around the room at each senior military and intelligence official. Over the next 72 hours, we will be executing the most critical military operation on American soil in modern history. The safety and security of the American people and the operational readiness of our military forces depends on our success in neutralizing this Iranian military threat. The assembled officials understood they were witnessing a pivotal moment in American military history. The nation's top law enforcement official had just revealed that foreign military units were actively preparing to conduct sabotage operations within the United States, and American military forces were mobilizing to engage them directly. As the officials dispersed to begin implementing Operation Shield Strike, Attorney General Pam Bondi remained behind to coordinate final preparations with Special Operations Command and intelligence leadership. The discovery of active Iranian sabotage teams within the United States had revealed a threat that went beyond traditional terrorism or espionage. It was direct military action by a foreign power within American borders. Standing in the Pentagon's command center, surrounded by tactical displays and military communication systems, Bondi reflected on the magnitude of what American forces were about to undertake. Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps military units had infiltrated American territory with the specific mission of conducting sabotage operations against American military and civilian targets. But the Iranian regime had made a critical miscalculation. They had underestimated American intelligence capabilities to detect their sabotage teams, and they had underestimated the speed and decisiveness with which American military forces would respond to direct military threats within the homeland. The alarm had been sounded, and American military forces were mobilizing to engage Iranian sabotage teams with overwhelming force and absolute determination. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps had sent their best special operations personnel to attack America from within, but they were about to face the full power of American Special Operations Forces and intelligence capabilities. Operation Shield Strike would demonstrate that America would never tolerate foreign military operations within its borders and would respond to such threats with the full weight of American military power. The battle against Iranian sabotage teams was about to begin, and Attorney General Pam Bondi was confident that American forces would achieve decisive victory. Within hours of the Pentagon briefing, Bondi had established a joint military command center that brought together Special Operations Command, the FBI's hostage rescue team, the CIA's Special Activities Division, and elite military units from all service branches. The FBI's Strategic Information and Operations Center had been transformed into a military operations center, where intelligence analysts, special operations planners, and tactical commanders worked around the clock to coordinate the most complex military operation ever conducted within the United States. The first critical intelligence breakthrough came from the NSA's Advanced Signal Processing Unit, which had successfully intercepted and decrypted Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps communications, directing their sabotage teams to begin final preparations for Operation Dagger Strike. Madam Attorney General, reported Colonel Sarah Martinez from the NSA's Military Intelligence Division, we have intercepted Iranian military communications, confirming that sabotage teams have received authorization to begin positioning explosives and equipment at their assigned targets. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps is implementing what they call Phase 2 of Operation Dagger Strike. Bondi studied the intercepted communications with growing urgency. Colonel Martinez, what's our timeline before Iranian sabotage teams are ready to execute their attacks? Ma'am, based on the intercepted communications, Iranian sabotage teams will complete their final preparations within 18 to 24 hours and will be ready to execute coordinated attacks across multiple targets simultaneously. The intelligence indicated that America now had less than 24 hours to locate and neutralize Iranian sabotage teams before they could execute what could be the most devastating coordinated attack on American infrastructure in the nation's history. Special Operations Command had deployed elite units to all locations where Iranian sabotage teams had been identified. Colonel Michael Thompson from the Army's Delta Force had been coordinating tactical operations to locate and engage Iranian military units operating near critical infrastructure facilities. Madam Attorney General, Colonel Thompson reported, via secure communication from his forward command post, we have identified Iranian sabotage team positions near 3 major power generation facilities in the Mid-Atlantic region. Our tactical assessment indicates they have positioned military-grade explosives with the capability to cause cascading power failures affecting millions of Americans. The possibility that Iranian sabotage teams were in final position to attack American power infrastructure demanded immediate military action to prevent catastrophic damage to civilian populations and military installations. Colonel Thompson, what's your assessment of our capability to simultaneously engage multiple Iranian sabotage teams without allowing any to complete their sabotage missions. Ma'am, we have coordinated with all Special Operations Command units to execute simultaneous operations against all identified Iranian positions. We are prepared to engage Iranian sabotage teams with overwhelming force to prevent any attacks on American infrastructure. The CIA's Special Activities Division had been conducting surveillance operations on Iranian sabotage teams to gather intelligence on their capabilities, equipment, and operational plans. Special Agent Jennifer Walsh had been leading a surveillance team tracking the Iranian sabotage unit operating in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Madam Attorney General, Agent Walsh reported during the evening tactical briefing, the Iranian sabotage team we've been tracking has positioned explosives near critical telecommunications infrastructure that carries emergency communications for multiple government agencies and military commands. If they succeed in executing their attack, it could disrupt emergency communications throughout the national capital region. The possibility that Iranian sabotage operations could disrupt government and military communications during a national crisis represented a strategic threat that could compromise American response capabilities when they were most needed. Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, from the Department of Energy's Infrastructure Security Division, had been analyzing the potential impact of Iranian sabotage operations on American energy systems. Madam Attorney General, if Iranian sabotage teams succeed in executing coordinated attacks on power generation facilities, we could be looking at cascading power failures that affect nuclear power plants, military installations, hospitals, and emergency services across multiple states. The strategic implications were staggering. Iranian sabotage operations could potentially create infrastructure failures that would take months to repair and could cause thousands of American casualties through disruption of critical services. As intelligence continued to flow in from surveillance teams and special operations units across the country, the true scope of the Iranian threat became clearer. This was not just sabotage, it was a coordinated military assault on American infrastructure designed to cause maximum damage to American society and military capabilities. Standing in the Joint Command Center, surrounded by tactical displays showing Iranian sabotage team positions and American special operations units preparing to engage them, Attorney General Pam Bondi knew that the next 18 hours would determine whether America could successfully defend itself against this unprecedented military threat. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps had positioned their best sabotage teams throughout the United States with the mission of crippling American infrastructure and military capabilities. But American Special Operations Forces were ready to engage them with superior training, equipment, and determination. Operation Shield Strike would launch within 12 hours, marking the beginning of direct military combat between American Special Operations Forces and Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps sabotage teams on American soil. The outcome would determine whether foreign military units could successfully conduct operations within the United States, or whether American military superiority would decisively defeat this threat to the homeland. Attorney General Pam Bondi was confident that American military forces would achieve overwhelming victory and demonstrate to Iran and any other hostile nation that attacking American soil would provoke a response that would destroy any foreign military threat to the homeland.